The Second World War was a time of unfathomable horror and tragedy. Millions upon millions of lives were lost, and the world was forever changed by the unimaginable atrocities that were committed. As the war raged on, the number of casualties continued to climb higher and higher. The stench of death and decay hung heavy in the air, and the screams of the wounded and dying echoed through the bombed-out streets. It seemed as though the very fabric of reality was coming apart at the seams, as the forces of darkness and destruction unleashed their fury upon the world. The skies were filled with the smoke and ash of countless burning cities, and the once beautiful landscapes were reduced to rubble and ruin. But the true horror of the Second World War was not just in the number of lives lost, but in the countless unspeakable acts of cruelty and violence that were committed. Innocent men, women, and children were subjected to unimaginable horrors, as the forces of evil sought to crush all that was good and pure in the world. And though the war may have officially ended in 1945, its legacy lives on to this day. The ghosts of the past still haunt us, and the memories of the lives lost and the horrors witnessed continue to chill us to the bone. For those who survived, and for those who perished, the Second World War will forever be remembered as a time of darkness, despair, and unspeakable evil. The First World War was a time of darkness and despair, a time when the world was plunged into a seemingly endless abyss of violence and bloodshed. Millions upon millions of lives were lost, and the world was forever changed by the horrors that were witnessed. As the war raged on, the battlefields became a grotesque spectacle of death and destruction. The air was filled with the stench of decay and the screams of the dying, while the skies were filled with the roar of artillery and the deafening sounds of explosions. In the trenches, soldiers huddled together in fear, their minds shattered by the unrelenting horror that surrounded them. Disease and infection ran rampant, and the wounded lay in agony, their cries of pain lost in the chaos of battle. And yet, perhaps the most terrifying aspect of the First World War was the sense of futility and hopelessness that permeated everything. The scale of the violence was so vast, the loss of life so staggering, that it seemed as though the very fabric of reality was coming apart at the seams. And though the war may have officially ended in 1918, its legacy lives on to this day. The memories of the lives lost, and the horrors witnessed, continue to haunt us, a constant reminder of the darkness that lies at the heart of human nature. For those who survived, and for those who perished, the First World War will forever be remembered as a time of unspeakable horror and endless despair. The Taiping Rebellion was one of the bloodiest conflicts in human history, a cataclysmic civil war that ravaged China from 1850 to 1864. Led by a charismatic visionary named Hong Xiuquan, the Taiping Rebellion was fueled by a potent mixture of religious fervor, social unrest, and political upheaval. Hong Xiuquan was a failed civil servant who, after a series of personal setbacks, had a vision that he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ. He began to preach a unique blend of Christianity, Confucianism, and traditional Chinese beliefs, calling for a radical transformation of Chinese society and the establishment of a new, utopian state. The Taiping Rebellion quickly gained traction, drawing support from disaffected peasants, minorities, and others who were disillusioned with the corrupt and oppressive Qing dynasty. Hong Xiuquan's followers, known as the Taiping Heavenly Army, soon controlled much of southern and central China, including major cities like Nanjing. But the Taiping Rebellion was also marked by incredible violence and brutality. The Taiping Heavenly Army was responsible for a staggering number of deaths, with some estimates putting the death toll at over 20 million. The war was characterized by mass executions, indiscriminate killing, and widespread destruction of property. Despite the Taiping Rebellion's initial successes, the movement eventually began to crumble under the weight of its own contradictions and internal divisions. The Qing dynasty, with the help of foreign powers, eventually crushed the rebellion, but not before it had left a lasting mark on Chinese history. The legacy of the Taiping Rebellion remains controversial to this day. Some view it as a valiant attempt to challenge a corrupt and oppressive regime, while others see it as a bloody and misguided episode that caused untold suffering and devastation. Regardless of one's perspective, the Taiping Rebellion serves as a chilling reminder of the horrors that can be unleashed when religious fanaticism, political unrest, and social upheaval collide. The Three Kingdoms War was a time of incredible violence and chaos in ancient China, a period of nearly a century of conflict that saw the collapse of the Han dynasty and the emergence of three rival kingdoms vying for power. The Three Kingdoms War was marked by brutal battles, political intrigue, and backstabbing, as warlords fought for control of territory and resources. The three main kingdoms were the Wei, Shu, and Wu, each with their own distinct cultures and armies. The war was characterized by a level of violence that was unprecedented in Chinese history. The battles were bloody and brutal, and the casualties were staggering. Tens of thousands of soldiers died in each battle, with many more civilians caught in the crossfire. But perhaps even more chilling than the violence was the widespread use of espionage and assassination. It was not uncommon for warlords to employ spies and assassins to infiltrate enemy camps and carry out secret missions. Poison was a popular method of assassination, with many soldiers and warlords falling victim to this insidious tactic. The war also had a profound impact on the people of China. The constant violence and instability led to widespread famine and disease, causing even more deaths and suffering. Many ordinary people were forced to take up arms and fight in the war, either out of necessity or as conscripts. The Three Kingdoms War came to an end in 280, with the victory of the Jin dynasty over the remaining kingdoms. But the legacy of the war lived on, with the culture and traditions of the Three Kingdoms continuing to influence Chinese society for centuries to come. In many ways, the Three Kingdoms War serves as a chilling reminder of the horrors that can be unleashed when power-hungry individuals are allowed to pursue their own ambitions without restraint. It is a cautionary tale of the dangers of greed, violence, and instability, and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable suffering. The Mongol conquests were one of the most terrifying and far-reaching campaigns of conquest in human history. Led by the legendary Genghis Khan, the Mongols swept across Asia and Europe, leaving a trail of destruction and death in their wake. The Mongols were a nomadic people from the steppes of Central Asia, known for their equestrian skills, fierce warriors, and tactical brilliance. Genghis Khan united the various tribes and clans into a formidable fighting force, launching his conquests in 1206. The Mongol conquests were marked by a level of violence that was unprecedented in its scale and scope. Entire cities and populations were wiped out in brutal massacres, with some estimates putting the death toll at over 40 million. The Mongols were renowned for their savage tactics, including the use of psychological warfare, mass slaughter, and the deliberate spread of disease. They would often launch surprise attacks on unsuspecting populations, slaughtering men, women, and children indiscriminately. The Mongols were also known for their advanced military technology and tactics, including the use of mobile cavalry units, siege engines, and devastatingly effective bows and arrows. They were able to outmaneuver and outsmart even the most formidable opponents, and their conquests changed the course of world history. The Mongol conquests had a profound impact on the societies and cultures they conquered. Entire civilizations were destroyed, and many of the conquered peoples were forced to assimilate into Mongol culture or face brutal repression. But the Mongols also brought new technologies, ideas, and innovations to the regions they conquered, leaving a lasting mark on world history. The Mongol conquests remain a chilling reminder of the horrors that can be unleashed when a powerful military force is allowed to pursue its ambitions unchecked. They are a testament to the incredible brutality and violence that humans are capable of, and a warning of the dangers of unchecked power and ambition.